Right, let's find out what's happening as far as the situation in the the Channel is concerned. 2 people at sea dying as a result of the sinking of a boat off Calais.
Yeah, I'm afraid to say that's the case, Kay, as we understand it this morning, that 2 more lives have been lost as yet again small boats took off from near Calais this morning, heading across the Channel, attempting to head across the Channel to make it to the UK. It's been reported by the French media and confirmed in the past few minutes by the French authorities. It looks as though this boat, which we can assume was fairly overpacked with people, got into difficulty at about 8 o'clock this morning. It seems to have taken off from the coast of Sangatte, which is just to the west of Calais. They're reporting that a life jacket was spotted by somebody at sea, and then rescue operation was launched by the French Coast Guard, effectively sending out ships, helicopters as well. We're seeing it looks as though around 50 people on this boat fell into the water.
Yeah.
48 of them rescued, but 2 people have lost their lives. We haven't been told any more detail about these 2 individuals, their ages, whether they were a man or a woman. We just don't know yet, or a child. But of course, this comes already the deadliest year for Channel crossings. More than 50 people have lost their lives recently in the past week. A baby girl, just 40 days old, died in one of these Channel crossings. And so, very sadly, the death toll continues, and another serious operation on the Channel this morning. We're also hearing that it's had a real impact on the Dover to Calais services. P&O ferries saying that all sailings from the Calais port paused as well. Of course, this is one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world, and it's the scene yet again of human tragedy.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the reports, as indeed you are at the same time, from Cherbourg, and hearing that a helicopter has been put up as well, just to check whether anybody else is still in the vicinity of this vessel, which had, as you say, around 50 people on board.
Yeah, I mean, we must hope that it was 50 people on board, because we understand that 48 people have been rescued, with 2 people being pronounced dead. So obviously they have to continue to search. But sadly, it sounds as though if more people are found, I mean, it may be bad news there. We just have to wait and see. But obviously this is something that is becoming more and more of a regularity. We're hearing reports, certainly from our colleagues in Calais in France, that people smugglers are continuing to operate and continuing to put more and more people on these boats. Some people who have died this year dying as a result of drowning, others from the crush injuries that can come from such cramped and horrendous conditions on these small dinghies. But of course, with more than 50 people having been killed this year, it's important to point out that 26,000 have made it across, so thousands of people still continuing to risk their lives for, as they see it, the chance of a better life here in the UK. And it's that allure that is continuing to fund the people smugglers who are charging thousands of pounds at a time to put people in these horrendous conditions, and they're prepared to risk it. And sadly, as we heard this morning, 2 people killed at sea, and a major rescue operation has been launched off the coast of Calais.
Yeah, emergency services, all emergency services in the region are still actively looking for anybody else that might be caught at sea. Hearing from the authorities saying this maritime sector is one of the busiest areas in the world, with more than 600 commercial ships passing through it per day. And the weather conditions are often difficult. They weren't that difficult today, but they say even when it isn't, it's a particularly dangerous section, even when the sea seems fine. So people literally are taking their lives in their hands to cross that very narrow stretch of water. But if you're on one of those dinghies, it's a very long way.
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely horrifying. And you speak to people, and certainly people who have made that journey and survived, talk about hours and hours being on these boats with only the horizon ahead of them. Freezing cold conditions, people panicking, of course, I'm sure, and the drivers just heading forward. We've heard of reports of sometimes people being put on these boats without even life jackets, and these boats, which obviously are very small, they are not built for this, and they are being well overpacked with these people who are paying, you know, thousands of pounds for what you might call, you know, quote unquote, the privilege of being there. It's not that, it's the exact opposite. I mean, it's an absolutely horrendous situation. And that detail, again, we always hear in context of this story. One of the busiest shipping areas in the world, hundreds of commercial ships passing through. That alone is a huge risk. And we've heard, again, as I mentioned already, the Dover to Calais crossing, again, being suspended as a result of this to allow the rescue operation to continue.
Yeah, all emergency services in the area are active, is what we are being told. The French authorities looking for others that may well still be in the water. 50 people have been brought to land. Sadly, 2 of them did not make that crossing.